Misty is the second gym leader you encounter in the Generation 1 games, boasting an incredible 2 Pokemon like Brock. That makes her a pretty easy fight, especially if you had a Bulbasaur on your team. But what if Misty wanted to become the champion of Kanto, using what I consider one of her strongest teams in Pokemon Leaf Green, consisting of a Golduck, Starmie, Lapras, Politoed, Gyarados, and then a Milotic, giving her a solid water type team with a few extremely strong Pokemon like Milotic and Gyarados. While we are making our way through the Indigo Plateau to arrive at the Elite Four ready for this challenge, let me explain the rules. Now I know what you're thinking, I could just have a full team of level 100 Pokemon and easily win. That's where the rules come in. We can't level past the Elite Four or the Champion's Ace Pokemon, and no items in battle or held items allowed. We've also got to play it like a gym leader, meaning no switching, as gym leaders really don't switch that much. So with the brief rules out of the way, let's see if Misty can become the Kanto champion. So first of the Elite Four is Laureli. She's an ice type specialist, and honestly with our team, I don't see any of the Elite Four or the champion being much of an issue, but I could be wrong. Our moveset with ice and water moves means nothing really can stand in our way this generation. Let's do this. Her lead is Dugong, and our lead for this challenge is Golduck, as it makes me think of Misty's Psyduck in the anime. We outspeed Dugong turn 1, and we have access to Iron Tail, a steel type attack that does fantastic damage to the ice type, as we take a really weak Surf in return. We Iron Tail once more to bring Dugong to full restore range, as he annoyingly sets up a double team, raising his evasion. Laureli now wastes a full restore, as we just keep on going for Iron Tails, and we land a critical hit to bring her back to 1 HP. We then miss an Iron Tail, and we take a pretty pathetic Signal Beam before taking down her first Pokemon the next turn. Second out is Lapras. We just keep Iron Tailing, but this time it's not doing as much to Lapras, only about a quarter, as she connects a Thunder to put us on 9 HP and paralyze us. This means Lapras now outspeeds Golduck and takes him down with a Psychic. I go into Politoed, who knows Dynamic Punch, a fighting type move that if hits has a 100% chance to confuse, and thankfully Politoed does connect it for massive damage and confusing Lapras, as he hits himself in confusion and knocks himself out. Third is Cloyster. Politoed misses a Dynamic Punch and Cloyster misses a Supersonic. The next turn we hit a Dynamic Punch for massive damage and we confuse Cloyster, as he just hits himself again, and Politoed is starting to come in clutch. We connect yet another punch the following turn to take down Cloyster. Lorelai's next choice is Piloswine, and I just went for another punch, missing, as an Earthquake does a fantastic amount of damage thanks to a critical hit on us. Politoed now goes for a Waterfall, and we bring Piloswine to the red, as he then takes us down with an Earthquake. I now go into Gyarados for the first time for the Intimidate on his attack stat. Lorelei full restores, as Gyarados then hits the Surf, just destroying Piloswine's HP. It's pretty bulky, so it does survive, but we take it out the following turn with another water type attack. This leaves her with her last Pokemon, Jinx, and I bet you didn't know Gyarados gets access to Flamethrower. Crazy, right? We burn the ice type for half of her HP as she puts us to sleep with a lovely kiss. We stay asleep and take an Ice Beam close to half, then we wake up and fire off a fiery Flamethrower to take down Jinx in a pretty one-sided battle. But water versus ice, and Misty being at her strongest, Lorelei stood no chance. It's time to head to the next battle. The second Elite Four member in our way to champion glory is Bruno, a fighting type expert with 2 Steelixes. While we do well into Steelixes, fighting types could put some damage on us, but Golduck could really hurt Bruno here, and I'll tell you why. Bruno's lead is a fantastic matchup for our water team, as it's a Steelix. Golduck hits a super hard Waterfall on the bulky ground type, bringing him to the red, as he hits a pretty hard Earthquake too. Bruno now falls restores Steelix, but it's in vain as our Waterfall brings him all the way back down. A final Waterfall from Golduck, and his first Steelix is down. Second out is Hitmonlee, and Golduck has access to a flying type move, Aerial Ace. It does fantastic damage to Hitmonlee, bringing him low as he connects a Mega Kick to put us on only 29 HP. A final Aerial Ace, and down he falls. This brings out his Hitmonchan. He has access to a priority move in Mach Punch, which is more than enough to take down Golduck. Now I swap into Lapras. I go for a Sheer Cold, and we actually hit it. This move is a guaranteed one-hit knockout, as Misty has taken no prisoners this run. This brings out Machamp the next turn. We hit a Hydro Pump for solid damage as he misses a Cross Chop, perfect. We Hydro Pump again, but now we miss as he connects a Cross Chop for massive damage. We Hydro Pump once more, bringing Machamp to a Slither as he hits an Earthquake to take down Lapras. I now decide to go into Politoed. As Bruno full restores, we go for an Earthquake for great damage, thanks to a critical hit. So another Earthquake, and we take down his ace Pokemon. This brings out his last Pokemon and the last Steelix. I go for a Waterfall, bringing him to the yellow as he Earthquakes us for good damage yet again. I then go for a Dynamic Punch, being greedy, but we miss it, and we take an Earthquake to lower in return for our cockiness. But then we can finish off Steelix with a Waterfall, and Misty is out to take the throne of Kanto. It's time to head on to our third Elite Four member already. The third member we need to face is Agatha, the Ghost type specialist, who has some poison types on her team too. Now her Gengars and Arbok could pose a threat to our team, but from what I've seen so far, I'm really impressed with this water team. Agatha's lead is Gengar as we lead Golduck. We hit a Waterfall to do good damage on the frail Ghost type as he misses a Hypnosis. We get off another water type attack as Gengar lands a Hypnosis on us. Agatha full restores Gengar as we stay asleep. We're still snoozing as Gengar's Psychic is doing big damage to us. We then wake up and Waterfall as Psychic is still doing more damage to us. We exchange another Waterfall and we get put to sleep again. Then Gengar Psychics to bring us low. As we don't wake up ever, we fall to Gengar. I go into Lapras now and Gengar immediately puts us to sleep. He then goes for a Confuse Ray while we're asleep too. We don't wake up and he starts going for Psychic attacks on us, bringing us to half and lowering our special defense. As we do wake up and then hit ourselves in confusion. So the next turn, Gengar just puts us straight back to sleep. Unfortunately, Lapras is tormented far too much and falls to Gengar, and this Pokemon is really putting a dent in my team. I go into Politoed, who takes a Shadow Ball pretty decently and can finally take down her first Pokemon with a Waterfall. This just brings out Mischievous the next turn, who has access to Thunderbolt that does good damage to us as our Waterfalls don't do half back to the Ghost. We take another Thunderbolt, bringing us to a sliver of HP as we get off some more chip damage, but then Politoed falls to Mischievous, and this isn't good. I now swap to Gyarados to take down Mischievous with a Surf attack. This means Agatha sends out her level 70 Gengar. We Surf once more to bring him close to half, and he has access to Thunderbolt too. With Gyarados being 4 times weak to Electric, that's a one-hit knockout. Now is finally the time to use my bulky, powerful Milotic. We tank a Thunderbolt easily and take down Gengar with a single Surf, bringing out Arbok the next turn. We hit a Surf again for fantastic damage, and rather than Giga Drain, Arbok just goes for a double team. That's bad news for him as we still connect our Surf to take down the Snake, leaving just a Crobat left. Crobat goes for a Sludge Bomb and it's doing good damage as our Ice Beam brings him to the red. Agatha full restores as we keep on connecting Ice Beams. Then Crobat hits a critical hit Sludge Bomb to put us on our last Pokemon for the first time this run, but it's the incredibly powerful Starmie, who's faster than Crobat and finishes the fight with a Sidekick, giving us our closest battle yet. With that, we've got one more trainer in the Elite Four to face. The last Elite Four member is Lance. He's a Flying type or a Dragon type specialist, you decide. He has 2 powerful Dragonites and a Gyarados, but unlike Brock, I'm really not worried about him at all. Having access to Ice moves just means Dragons melt. Let's defeat Lance. Lance's lead is Gyarados, who immediately intimidates Golduck, reducing our attack. While we can Ice Punch him, we really can't hurt him that much, and he Thunder Waves us, paralysing us. He then starts to set up Dragon Dances, boosting his attack and speed as we really can't hurt him. We bring him to half as he goes for a Hyper Beam, which just straight up knocks us out. I take no chances with Gyarados now and swap into Lapras. On the turn he's recharging, we go for Shockwave to take it down. Out comes Aerodactyl next, who throws rocks at us to do big damage, but a single Hydro Pump brings down the prehistoric bird. Out next is Dragonite. While it's a higher level, it's super slow, and Lapras is trained to be quite fast, and a 4 times super effective Ice Beam takes it straight down. This brings out his second Dragonite, who can't stand to Lapras' freezing might either and falls to a single Ice Beam too. Finally is a Kingdra. I go for Sheer Cold, and we miss, and he starts to Dragon Dance. He gets to a +2 in attack and speed as we keep missing our attacks. He then goes to a +3 in attack and speed as our attacks are really not hurting him. Kingdra then goes for a Hyper Beam, and that's definitely an RIP to Lapras. I go into Gyarados to get off an Intimidate, and he also really can't hurt Kingdra either. Ice Beam is doing little, and he just keeps Dragon Dancing. All I can do is keep on attacking him. Kingdra then goes for an Ice Beam for some reason as we bring him to the red, and we freeze him. Lance now goes for a full Restore on Kingdra, and we just keep Ice Beaming. He then finally decides to go for a Hyper Beam, which just instantly takes down Gyarados too, and we're in a bit of trouble here. I go into Politoed, and I go for an Earthquake, and thankfully it's doing quite a bit more damage. Kingdra just goes for a Surf rather than Hyper Beam, as I Earthquake once more to put him in the red. Lance uses another full Restore yet again, and I just keep on shaking the earth with Politoed as we bring him lower and lower. Then Kingdra once again goes for a Hyper Beam to instantly take down Politoed with a single hit too. Deciding to try and end this fight before things get even worse, I go into Starmie and take take down Kingdra with a sidekick, beating Lance and leaving just a champion in our way of victory. The champion is Blue. His team could really pack a punch, it's really powerful. But so far Misty is showing her true strength and she's not worried at all. Let's become the champion of Kanto. Blue's lead is a scary Heracross, and well, this time it's not scary for us as Golduck has Aerial Ace, which is a fantastic move to lead off with as it does massive damage, bringing him to a sliver of HP as he hits a pretty weak Rock Tomb on us, also lowering our speed too. Blue now full restores Heracross as we bring him straight back down with an Aerial Ace. Then Heracross misses a Mega Horn, giving Golduck an easy first knockout with an Aerial Ace. Second out is his Tyranitar. We're still faster than him as a Waterfall does close to half, before Tyranitar hits us with a Thunderbolt that also critical hits to take down our Water Duck. I now go into my Lottit to give it some more limelight, and we take down Tyranitar with a Surf that critical hits to return the RNG favour. This now brings out Blue's Executor. We Ice Beam the three-headed eggplant, and we freeze him. Honestly, our RNG has been so insane this run, but what can you do? Blue full restores again, but now my Lottit critical hits an Ice Beam to instantly take it out. I will not speak about my luck any further. This brings out Alakazam. He sets up a Calm Mind as our Surf still does good damage. He then decides to Calm Mind again rather than attack us. So our next Surf plus Sandstorm damage and Alakazam just falls too. This brings out Gyarados and we really can't hurt it. He sets up a Dragon Dance and this is not good again as our Surf is doing so little to him. Then Gyarados Hyper Beams us and takes down my Lottit. I go into my Gyarados now for a standoff of the two water flying types, and as he's recharging, we Thunderbolt. Yep, Gyarados can learn Thunderbolt in this generation to instantly nuke the opposing Pokemon, leaving us versus his ace Charizard left, who has nearly 10 levels on us at this point. This really does showcase how strong Misty's team can be, as we hit a Surf that does fantastic damage, bringing Charizard low, as Charizard just hits a weak Aerial Ace. This means a final Surf attack from Gyarados, and we take down Charizard, beating Blue and becoming champion of the Kanto region as Misty. This was a really fun run to do, and probably the easiest we will have in Kanto if I think right. If you want me to do the next gym leader, Lieutenant Surge, who is definitely going to have a hard time next, let me know in the comments below. If you have a team you'd like me to use for Lieutenant Surge also, put that in the comment too. Any feedback on what you want me to maybe change next time? Comment section is the best place as I read through all of them. Like and subscribe, and as always, I appreciate you watching and I will see you in the next video.